gosh, how is this year almost over? I really can't believe it. And if you're anything like me, you're probably doing one of two things right now, or maybe both. You're reflecting on the last year, thinking of, wow, everything amazing that happened, all of the things I accomplished, the person I became this year. That's one part. And then your brain, which is wired for survival and plans to look out all of the flaws, is probably saying, but hey, remember, we didn't actually do that thing that you did. And this is where I want to make sure that you are the master of your mind. Yes, there will be some things that you didn't get to this year, and that's okay. But I really want you to take time to acknowledge who you've become. Acknowledge those hard moments that you push through in your life. Acknowledge those times where you felt like quitting, where you felt like not showing up, where you felt like not going forward. And maybe for a little bit you stopped, but then you got back on the bike and you kept going. And that's what it is all about. Life happens, and I've experienced this so many times. It has knocked me down time and time again. It's not about that. It's about remembering who you are, remembering your power, and getting back up and remembering the dream that was planted inside of your heart and bringing that to life, because you deserve it. You deserve to live your dreams. And not just that, because the world needs your light. And that is so important. And so as we go into this new year, I want to really go over again, what I would call the great delusion, and how we've been taught to think about creating in our life, how we've been taught about going into the new year and creating new goals and all of this. And don't get me wrong, it is incredible to have goals in our life. It is incredible to have a vision of our future. You must have that. But what you've got to understand is that you don't create a new future by trying harder, right? It's not that. And I'm not saying you don't have to work hard on your dreams, because look at me, I'm right here and I'm doing it with all of you. But what I am saying is that you really have to create somebody else. You have to be somebody different. You have to be the version of you that is already it. Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about this a lot in his work with meditation and with healing. Every single person that sat down to do their meditation, they were no longer thinking about healing. They were thinking about changing themselves. And it is when we fully change and become a new version of ourselves, that's when we enter a new reality. And I think about this in my own journey, right? When I had doctors tell me I had 5 years to live, they were right? That version of me did die, and I became this new version of me. And so really, when we're talking about creating and going into this new year, I also really want you to think about, who do I have to let go of, right? Who do I have to stop being so that I can become this next identity that is still part of me, right? We are all playing so many different roles. So those are some things I want you to think about. But I'm going to go over 8 steps on really how you can start implementing this into your life. And then the next part of this teaching is, what do you do when you're in the middle of an identity? So what do I mean by this? I mean, you've got your vision, you know who you're going to be and who you're becoming, and you've got your old life, and none of them really feel like you just yet. So I have felt this way so many times, and I'm always changing. So I always find myself in this kind of in-between stage. But what do? How do we get ourselves so fixated and so in love with our future that we don't waver, and so that it can actually become our reality? So let's get into this. So part 1, I call this the great delusion, what I was mentioning to you. So let me give you some examples. Again, as we talk about creating, a lot of times people think, I got to get super clear on my goals. I gotta work harder. I'll figure out my purpose, and then everything will fall into place. We're going to go deeper on purpose there. But some other things, if it's meant for me, it won't feel hard. It's not necessarily true. If God wants this for me, it should feel peaceful right away. No, not always. I need to feel comfortable before I act. I have dealt with this, and to be honest, at times still deal with this when I'm doing something new. So I want you to reframe this. And when we talk about purpose, right, this is a big thing. What is the purpose of 2026? What is the purpose of myself? What am I bringing into this new year? I want you to know that a lot of times purpose is not something that's just found, right? It's something that we find through movement, right? It's revealed, I should say. It's not found, it's revealed through movement. It's taking action, and through that action, clarity starts to come to you, right? Not the other way around. Confusion is usually you're feeling like you're off your path, right? But it's not that. So if right now you're like, okay, this is what I didn't get done this year. This is who I'd like to be this year. This is what I'm thinking, but I'm feeling a little confused. This should be easier, right? If God's got a plan for me, this should be easier. It shouldn't be this hard. No, if you are feeling confusion in your life right now, I want you to understand, more likely than not, it's just because you're between identities, right? This is literally making me think of a Britney Spears song right now. Just bear with me. But do you remember that song? It's like, I'm not a girl, not yet a woman. I'm not a girl, not yet a woman. That's what it's coming to me. It's like I'm in between these identities. And this happens to us all the time. So I want you to understand that there's nothing wrong with that. That means you're actually right on track. It's okay if it feels messy. It's okay if it feels like, I don't really know. You just have to keep taking action and moving in that direction, and clarity will be revealed. So let's go to part 2 of this. I want to go into purpose. So let's talk about purpose, because again, I think this is a big thing in society where we hear, purpose is either it's one job that we have, it's a title that we have, it's an outcome. So I'm going to get this new job, or I'm going to become, a fiance this year. I'm going to make $1 million this year. And it's an outcome, or it's a title, or it's just one thing that we identify, this is our purpose. But in reality, that's not actually our purpose. That might be something we wish to experience, but instead our purpose is more, what is the kind of person that you're becoming, right? What is that? What is the values that you admire, that you're now choosing to live by? Get clear on those, right? What are problems that you are willing to solve? I was at Jim Quick's event, Limitless, a week or 2 ago now. And, there were so many unbelievable speakers there. But one of them was Jamie Kern Lima, right? And she had these big goals. And she was going to be a journalist. But then when she found herself on camera, she had a problem, right? She had a problem that her makeup was not blocking the rosacea that her skin had. And she couldn't find a makeup that would cover it. What does this mean? Well, for some people, it can mean I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to be the victim. I'm going to, poor me, all of these things. But for her, she's like, oh my God, God is calling me to create this. There is a problem that I need to solve. And so the question is, if there's a problem in your life right now, what are you doing about it? What are you doing? Are you talking about it with your friends? Are you spreading it, like just making it worse, right? And why do I say you're making it worse? Because the more you talk about something, the more energy you give it, the more life you give it. Or are you saying, okay, maybe this problem has presented itself because I'm not the only one with this problem, because God is calling me to create a solution. So even part of your purpose is there a problem that I'm being called to solve? And it's something so much bigger. That's what I want you to see. Purpose is not one job, one title, one outcome. It is who you're becoming. It is the values you're choosing to live by. It is a problem you're willing to solve in this world. So I want you to think about it like that. And with this video, you're going to see questions to answer. And so I'm going to just prompt you with them too. So I want you to answer these things, and I'll ask these questions right now, but know that you can use the worksheet and you can go through this and really get clarity in your own life. So ask yourself this question: who do I feel pulled to become this year? Who is God calling me? What is the desire in my heart that I just literally feel like I'm being pulled to create and to become this year? What kind of life force wants to move through me? Right? What kind of life force wants to move through me? I want you to think about that. What does that mean? That means that there is something greater than you that loves you, that has absolutely got your back and is waiting for you to say, yes, I will be the vehicle. I will be the channel. I will be the instrument for the divine. for this creation to come through me, for the divine to express itself, right? What life force is looking to express itself through you? And when you think about it like this, it's beautiful because it's not just you. It's not just you pushing and grinding and hustling and moving through life and everything is hard. It is no. There is a life force that is looking to move through me. And I really want you to get clear on this, because if you do not believe it, if you are not open to it, it will not be true for you in your life. Not that I'm not saying there isn't a creator that loves you and absolutely has your back, but you've got to invite it into your life. You've got to say, move through me. Let's go. Tag team. You're my bestie. Let's do this together, right? Where two or more, I am there. You and it. That's two. So really, really think about this and get clear. Feel that presence, feel that love, feel how big this is. It has created universes. This is massive, massive amounts of energy and love that absolutely is with you and has your back. So ask yourself that question. And then the third question, what keeps showing up in my heart that I cannot ignore? There have been so many times, I'm in one of them right now, where God is speaking to me. I feel it in my heart. I see the visions in my mind. I have literally people coming up to me and saying it to me that I don't even know. Like, the signs could not be any clearer. And yet, I'll be honest with you, sometimes I still get scared because it's so big and it's a new identity and I'm in between, which we're going to talk about that in between, like, I don't know, this isn't really me. This life isn't me anymore. I'm growing fast, but this is like new and different and the unknown. But you cannot deny what is in your heart and what is calling you, because I promise you it will keep calling. And there have been times when I have not answered, and it's going to do anything to get your attention. And in my experience, it's gotten like, hello, literally hit in the face. Can you hear me? And so don't wait for that, right? A lot of times people wait to change in their life when something bad happens, disease happens, despair happens, heartbreak happens. You don't have to wait for that, right? I love this quote by Dr. Joe Dispenza. You can wait for pain and suffering, or you can change in times of joy and inspiration. And that is what I want to encourage you and invite you to do. So think about those questions and really know this, that there is a purpose, right? And you might be like, I don't know what it is, but understand, purpose whispers before it shouts. So take time to be still, take time to be calm, take a time to really think about, what are these things? What are these questions? And allow something bigger than you to come through. If you are constantly stimulated, if you're on your phone and you're at work and then you're with your family and then you're with your friends and then you're scrolling before you go to bed, there's too much noise. How can you get a signal? How can you get an answer to these questions? I promise you, it whispers before it screams. Your heart is speaking to you. That's not the question. The question is, are you still enough to hear it? Are you conscious enough in your life to see the signs that are showing up? And if not, get still. Go in nature. Disconnect. Be in the present moment. I promise you, it will come to you. It will talk to you. And it is beautiful. So, purpose. Part 3. Let's keep going on this. We're rapid firing here. Delusional faith. I love me some delusional faith. So let's get this straight, okay? The world would say, be realistic. But God would say, have faith. Have faith. Both, we don't know what's going to happen, right? We're believing in an unknown. And even like the idea of being realistic, we had talked about this before. Somebody on my coaching call had said, well, why do we always go to the worst case scenario? Well, that's because our brain is wired to point things out and to try to keep us safe. But we don't have to go there. And even the worst case, we don't even know. That's not even being realistic. We don't even know if that's an outcome that's going to happen. But we've now, just out of infinite possibilities, focused our energy and attention on that, which is why a lot of times people will say, well, you don't understand. I thought that was going to happen. And so it did. Yes, because you created it. So let's have faith in this new year. Let's be delusional, right? And again, that's what the world is calling it, but God would just call delusion faith. It is truly believing before there is proof. It is acting before you feel ready. I'm going in this direction. I don't know how it's going to work out, but I'm just going to keep believing. And it is showing up before you feel ready. I know. That's a scary one. That is a scary one. It's before you feel ready or before you even feel validated. You just keep showing up. What do I mean by that? It's like sometimes we tell our good ideas to people because we just want to feel validated. Like, this is a good idea, right? And then what happens? People are like, no, I don't understand. And then you shut down and then there goes your dream. But of course, they don't understand what your dream is because God is not speaking to them the way that he, she, source divine is speaking to you, right? God whispers to us differently. Hoping we tell each other, yes, but tell them after you've created it. This is the vision that I have. I mean, I'm going through this in my own life right now. I'm like, this feels really big. This doesn't feel like me, but this is on my heart. And I shared it and people are like, really? Why would you do that? And I'm like, oh, now I have doubt. But why would I do that? Well, I would do that because that is what God is calling on my life, right? And I have to have faith that I have to have faith that I don't know how this is going to happen, but I'm just going to keep moving in that direction. I'm going to believe before I see that it's the proof. I'm going to believe before and start showing up before I feel ready. Why? Because this is how I'm being called to be used, and you are being called to be used in a certain way, and you got to go. Okay? So anytime somebody says to you, oh, really? You're just delusional? Just look at them and say, I just have an enormous amount of faith. And I'm telling you, even just putting it like that, you will shock them and they will start to feel that too, because energy does not lie. And that is a greater energy than you, right? You're merging with source and you are pulling that into the present moment. So I really want you to ask yourself these two questions. Again, you can see them on the worksheet, but think about it right now with me. What would I believe if I fully trusted God this year? What would I believe if I fully trusted God this year? Think about that. How would your thinking change? How would your actions change? All of these things would change if you could believe different. How do you believe different if you fully trusted God? What would you choose to believe? Second question, what am I afraid to believe because I might be disappointed? There have been so many times I've been scared to believe something in my past because I didn't want to be disappointed. And this is what I was talking about before. But this is where faith comes in. If you fully believe that you are being divinely supported, that God has got your back, then there's no problem, right? It might not work out the exact way, but it'll work out better. I promise you it always does. But think, what am I afraid to believe because I might be disappointed? Right? And that also gives you clarity on what's really in your heart, but you're just scared. And it is our job to get rid of this fear, right? You cannot be in faith and fear at the same time. It doesn't work like that. You're either in fear, right? You're in your head, or you're in your heart and you're in faith and you're believing that you are loved and you are supported and God has got your back. The choice is yours. And society and the world will test us, and we see how fear is being bombarded on us at all times, from the media to the commercials to the news write-up. And I'm not saying there is not hard things going on in this world, but you don't see the good. They understand if fear is pushed on you, it shuts your body down, it shuts your immune system down, and you get into your head, right? Again, you cannot be in fear and in faith at the same time. I don't want you in your head. I want you in your heart, connected to the Creator. And that's where we need to operate and live from. So, moving on. Part 4, the identity shift. This, my friends, they're all important, but this is one of the most important because, as I said in the beginning, we're going into this new year and everybody's thinking, okay, these are my goals. This is what I'm going to create this year. Amazing. Keep those, but understand every single goal requires these 3 things: a new behavior, new belief, and a new identity. And most people try to change their behavior without changing their identity, and it just does not work. Why? Because you will always default back to your identity. And if that is not locked into your identity, if you do not identify as somebody that works out 3 times a week, you're just going to stop showing up because at a deep subconscious level, you do not believe that is you. Just like somebody that truly at their deep core believes that like I am a fit human being and I value my temple, my body, and I don't miss the gym, right? Even if it's 3 days a week. I just don't miss. I show up for myself, right? Then they just show up. It doesn't matter what's going on in their life. It doesn't matter if it's raining outside. It doesn't matter if they're a little under their weather, because at a deep subconscious, they have a belief that this is who they are. And our brain will always try to keep us familiar. It'll try to keep us safe. Safe is familiarity. Familiarity is, this is my identity. These are my behaviors. These are my beliefs. This is how I behave, right? This is who I am. So let me give you an example of this. Old identity. I try when I feel inspired. Definitely gone through this. I try, when I feel inspired. New identity. I show up because this is who I am. This is who I am. I show up, right? It's just me. It's just who I am. I'm not, it's standard. It's like, I don't even have to think about it. Think about this too. Your identity, you're not thinking like, okay, this is my identity, blah, 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 blah. It's just autopilot. Your subconscious mind is like, this is just who I am, right? This is just what I do on any single given day. It's my identity. So really think about this. You have to change the identity. So you will always act in alignment with who you believe you are. Let me say that again. You will always act in alignment with who you believe you are. So this is going to be a really good time in your life to think about, what's my identity, right? Who am I? Right? And these are 2 questions I'm going to have you ask yourself. Current identity. I am someone who blank. I am somebody who lets fear overtake me. I am somebody who, does it if I feel inspired. I am somebody who shows up no matter what. Maybe it's a good thing, right? But I want you to be honest, and you have to get aware, because you cannot change anything in your life that you are not aware of. So you've got to do this exercise, and you've got to be real with yourself, right? There are times I take inventory of myself and I'm like, ooh, but that's okay. Don't judge it. I got to know my starting point so I can change, right? Got to know that. So that's the current identity question. The second one is emerging identity. Why are we calling it emerging? Because it's what's coming. It's what's being birthed. It's what's emerging out of you. You're not it yet, but it's your emerging identity. I am becoming somebody who blank. I'm becoming somebody who shows up even when I'm scared. I'm becoming somebody who does it even when it's difficult. I'm becoming somebody who believes in myself and believes in God and believes that I am supported. I'm becoming somebody that follows my heart and listens to my intuition and uses the gift that God gave me. I am becoming somebody. Go. What is pouring through you? And take time to ask yourself this question, and go and go. And what else is there? And let it pour out of you. Truly, this is who you're becoming. And you got to be excited about it. If you're not excited about it, do you think you're going to bring it to life? No. What does the word excitement mean? Right? I looked it up. Excited means to summon forth in Latin. To summon forth. What does to summon forth in Latin means? It means to pull into existence as if by magic. You're creating it. If you are excited about something, it is showing up, right? Dr. Joe Dispenza says you got to fall in love with your future. And I can tell you firsthand, before I even knew his work, I was doing this. I got to fall back in love with life. Why? Because now my energy and my attention is fixated and focused on love. And that is the direction, not the fear, not the doubt, not the insecurities, not the unknown, not all of that, right? That's the old story. That's the old life. And I'm going this way, and I better love where I'm going. And guess what? Love is such a strong emotion that it is going to start to pull it to you. That's what it means to be magnetic. You're in love with your life. You're loving where you're going. You're loving this new identity, this emerging identity, who you're becoming, right? These values that you have, the problems that you're solving, the way you're showing up in the world. And that is going to bring it to life fast. This is so important. So you've got to get super, super clear on this identity. And I talked about this before, this idea of kind of alter egos. And so I'll do another deeper video on this for you guys if you haven't been there for this teaching. But this is a good thing too. I want you to be playful with it, right? I call it building out the character. And this is where you got to get super clear on what is this character? Who is this identity? I want you to think just like a movie script, right? Okay, here's the role. Here's the role. Okay, how does she walk? How does she talk? How does he dress, right? How does he enter a room? What's the energy that people feel? This is method acting. You might be saying, okay, but I'm not a method actor. You're acting. Every single one of us are taking actions every day, which means we're acting on a desire. We're acting on a dream. We're acting on an insecurity. We're acting on a fear. We're all acting. All of us are playing so many roles in life, right? You might be a partner or a parent or an entrepreneur or there's so many different roles that we play. It's the holidays are coming up. What does that mean, right? New Year, all these things. Well, you're going to go from work to family, right? And you're going to switch. You're going to see your personality change. You're going to play a new role, right? I can go from being on stage and then I see my dad and I'm like, Daddy, right? I instantly go back. Why? We have mirror neurons. I'm remembering myself through the lens of him as well. And so this is so important that you understand I'm playing so many roles. So what's my new identity? What's my new character? And have fun with this. You've got to have fun with this. This is meant to be playful and exciting. You're falling in love with this new version of you, this new emerging identity, this new character, and you're bringing it into this new year because in that identity, you'll have new behaviors, you'll have new beliefs, you'll have new actions, and you can even take time to get clear on those, okay? From this identity, what are my behaviors now? How do I behave? Right? That's what I was talking about. How do I walk? How do I talk? But go deeper. How do I behave? Right? What is it that I do? Do I go to the gym? What is it? What are the behaviors that you take? Do I take time to read for 30 pages every day? Do I take time to make sure I have a water bottle that I'm constantly being hydrated? What is it? What are my beliefs? Do I believe that I can do this? Do I believe in myself? Do I believe in something bigger than me? God, source, spirit, divine, whatever you want to call it. But do I believe? And getting super clear on this, right? When you understand the way that you're choosing to think and you're consciously creating that, then you're going to go into life with those thoughts. Why is that important? Every single thought that you have produces a chemical inside of your body. So you start thinking different. You're hijacking the pharmacy within. You start feeling differently. And that is going to start creating a new personality. And what does Dr. Joe Dispenza say? If you create a new personality, you will start to shift your personal reality. And this is what we are doing this year. So let's move on from this. Part 5, why it feels hard right now. I know. So you might be saying, I'm doing this, Kate, and it's feeling pretty hard, right? I hear you. I've actually been starting this, but I'm just getting stuck. What are the symptoms that I'm talking about of resistance, right? And what is resistance? Let's clarify this first. Resistance in your life is just meaning that there is an identity conflict. What does that look like, right? It looks like procrastination. It looks like exhaustion. It looks like self-doubt. It looks like fear. It looks like feeling distracted or blocked. Why? You're in between identities, right? If you don't know if your brain wakes up and is like, well, I don't know if I'm Caitlin or if I'm Karen today, right? Nothing against Karen, but I don't know who I am. Then I don't know which actions to take. I don't know what to do. That leads into procrastination. If you're feeling overwhelmed now, well, I don't know, am I this person? Am I this person? Literally think about it. Like when you're programming a computer system, right? There's certain programs, and whatever program's in there is how it's going to operate. It's how it's going to run. And it's the apps that are on the system. So if you've got two different informations and hardware that you're installing, one's your old identity, one's a new identity, and you're somewhere in before, you glitch, right? The computer's glitching out. You're glitching. You're thinking I don't know, I'm just exhausted. I feel overwhelmed. This is too much. I'm going to procrastinate. I don't even want to, I'm doubting. I don't think I'm really this person yet. This has happened to me so many times where it's am I really am I really doing this? How is that even going to happen? Right? I remember being going from super sick to I'm going to get a job. And I remember my parents are doing what? And then I was oh yeah, doing what? I haven't worked in years. I've been really sick. Who's going to hire me? Blah, 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 blah. Self-doubt. But what did I do? I just kept believing, well, I'm going to get a job. I don't know. something's going to happen. And that's exactly what happened. I made that decision with such an intent, with so much faith, with unwavering belief that 3 days later, I got a call out of nowhere for the audition at Sports Illustrated, which I wound up getting, right? That wasn't because I had an agent. That wasn't because somebody's working behind the scenes, but there was God, right? Helping me find this. I made a decision. I started to switch internally, having a new identity, getting locked on that when I'm done with this. I'm done being sick. I'm done being the girl that doesn't have it together, that isn't working, that has nowhere to live, that has no money, and that is dying. I'm done with that life. We're going this way. Right? But there is some time in between where you can feel like, I don't know. And what I want you to know is that's okay. You're literally just between realities and identities, but you got to choose, right? You've got to choose like, this is who I'm going to be. And you've got to have faith, right? That delusional faith. This is it. That's where the character comes in. No, I'm going this way, and these are the actions I'm going to take, and this is the thoughts I'm going to think, and this is the belief that I'm going to have, and nothing and no one is going to stop me. And God has got my back in some way, somehow. It's going to work out, and you guys can just see it when it happens, right? You don't need validation. You don't even need proof. You just need belief in yourself and a decision that it is done. So really, really, really want you to know that if it feels hard right now, great. Perfect. You're in the right place because you're in between places, right? And you might be like, how is that the right place? It means because you're going in the right direction. You're going in the right direction. And that's the only reason that it feels hard is because you're becoming somebody new. So we got to just get super, super clear on who that person is and the beliefs. And that is number 6, the beliefs, the old versus the new. So very important for you to understand, beliefs are just things. They're just words. They're just thoughts that you have told yourself over and over again that you now think they are true, but they're not. They're just a repetitive thought that you've now said, oh, I'm going to believe this because I've said it to myself enough times. So it's just a thought that you have practiced. So what does that mean? If I practice this thought over and over and over again and said it to myself that I now believe it, I'm going to stop practicing that thought and I'm going to practice this thought. And I'm going to tell myself this and I'm going to think this over and over again until I believe it. Do you understand that is how you change a belief? It is that simple. It is that simple. It is repetition. You are doing it over and over and over again. And that is how you create a new belief. And what happens when you create a new belief? You start to create a new reality. You start to create a new world, right? The moment you change an aspect of yourself, your life changes every time. Good or bad. So I want you to think about what are some of the old beliefs that I've had. Okay, I'll just give you some of mine, right? Well, I need permission for this, right? I need to know that this is going to work out, right? What could this look like? Well, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to take a new job, but I need to know that this is going to work out. I need to know that this is going to be okay, right? That could be an old belief. An old belief could be, I don't know, I can't trust myself. Right? I've made bad decisions in the past. It doesn't matter. If you constantly look at the past to predict your future, that's karma. You're just going to keep living the same thing over and over again. You can look at your past and say, okay, I don't want to live that life anymore. But here's what you got to understand. Your past is not even concrete, right? Science tells us that every time we revisit the past, it changes based on the emotional state that we are currently in. So what does that mean? So many people are living a life that they hate, that is telling stories that happened to them, and they're not even true. 95%, they're just remembering it different. So we can't use the old beliefs and copy paste them. We have got to start looking at, okay, what are the current beliefs that I have, and do they serve me? Does it serve me to say I can't trust myself? Does it serve me to say that it never works out? Does it serve me to have fear? No, it doesn't. That is never going to get you to your dream life, and that has got to stop right now. Right now. It does not serve you. So understand that and create new beliefs that do. Like, you know what? Actually, I do trust myself. You know what? I have amazing intuition. You know what? I am so supported and so loved. God has absolutely got my back. The signs for me are clear and easy to see. Things happen and change fast in my life. I am constantly put in awe and wonder by blessings and magic. This is what I'm choosing to believe. And the moment you start choosing to believe this and think those thoughts and say them to you over and over again, remember, you just practice them. Anything you practice, you get good at. So you practice these new thoughts until you start to believe them. And then your life will change. You will have become somebody else, somebody that thinks different, somebody that feels different. Every thought chemical, that thought is making you feel different, and you will believe something different for you. And your life will start to reflect that. Let's move on to number 7. And this is the action steps, right? We've got to ground this. How do we actually take action on what I'm saying, right? Action, this is what you have to understand, is how identity is locked in. I can create an identity that's like, okay, we'll just go to the basic one that is a great one, but it's common for the new year. This year, I'm going to start eating healthy and I'm going to work out and have my best body ever. Amazing. What are the action steps I've got to do? Well, I should probably go buy organic food. I know that that's healthier. It's not sprayed. I should probably set up time for a gym membership. I should go to the gym. I should get clear on what my goals are and what it's going to take to gain muscle or lose weight or whatever it is. It's going to take me working out 5 times a week. Great. I'm going to make a commitment for that. Action is how identity gets locked in. Your subconscious mind is watching you at all times. And what happens is people create a goal for themselves. They don't change their identity. They don't actually believe that's who they are at their core. And then they go to show up and then they eventually fall off. And that is because they don't believe it. And then their subconscious is like, yeah, we can't trust her. She doesn't actually hold her world. He doesn't actually mean it, right? He's done this so many times before. Yeah, he's not going to do it. Watch by day 5, right? Oh, she'll change by week 2, right? And it is judging and watching at all times. It's not that it's judging, but it is aware of what we're doing, and it knows, do we keep our word to ourselves? And this is so important. So even when you're creating these new action steps, just keep them small, but be consistent with them. If it's, I'm going to start writing, great. I'm going to start writing for 20 minutes a day, right? That's good. I'm not going to say, I'm going to write for 5 hours a day every day. That's not realistic. And you got to get your brain locked into the action so it starts believing that this is truly who we are. So small and consistent is how you can get your identity locked in. And that is what we have to do. So I want you to ask yourself this question. What is one action a future version of me would take this week? One action. What is one action a future version of me would take this week? Get clarity on it. And then what would someone who trusts God do next? Yes, this is important. This is what my future version of me would do. And if I fully trusted God, then I would go after this, right? If the future version of me is not stuck in this dead-end job, she would be posting or creating or on LinkedIn. And if I really trusted that God has got my back, then I'm going to go do that, right? And God always meets us, always matches our efforts, always, always. So you've got to do your part. You've got to take action. You've got to start becoming this new identity through those small, consistent, repetitive steps. And that is how magic is created. So part 8, let's go into this communication with God. Please, this is so important. So important. And if you're someone right now that is like, I don't know, what do you mean by God, right? Or what do you mean? I mean that in this moment, your heart is beating and you are breathing and you're not even thinking about it. You're not even thinking about it. Some innate intelligence is keeping you alive, and it is not just keeping you alive, but it is with you. It has got your back. It is helping you build your life. If you ask, if you communicate, if you're in communion with it, and don't sleep on that, right? Don't sleep on that. It is real. And the only way for you to know that it is real is to test it and to try it out yourself. Why not just be curious? So I want you to understand, prayer isn't just prayer is a great way to do this, right? You can sit still and you can be open and receive messages, and you can ask, you can pray. And so ask, are you calling me to be somebody right now? Or is there a message that you have for me? And sometimes I even will pick up a pen and a paper and just ask, is anything coming to me? And write the answer. You will be shocked that you will get answers. I'm like, oh my God, something is answering. You might be like, how do I know that this thought isn't mine? It will come right after. It will come right after. It will be a feeling. It might show up in your reality. You might see a sign on somebody's car or on a t-shirt, or something gets delivered to your house and you're like, Pay attention to the way that God is communicating to you, but make sure that you are in communication. I'll go back to Jamie Kern Lima's story. She got 250 no's, by the way, for her makeup brand that she did go on to create called 8 Cosmetics. 250 people said no to her, and she stayed in communication with God and was like, are you sure? Are you sure that this is the plan? Because nobody else can see what you are telling me. And every time she took time to be still, to pray, to be in meditation, to get into communication with God, the answer was the same. Yes, this is your message. This is what you're meant to do. Keep going, right? Years of no's, 250 no's, until eventually somebody understood. Eventually, she became the identity. Eventually, she met the vibration of the reality. Albert Einstein says, match the frequency of the reality you wish to experience, and it can be no other way. Whose job is that? Yours. From your thinking, from your actions, from your behaviors, your identity, you've got to be that person for that reality to show up. You don't just say, okay, this is the identity now, where's the reality? You are the catalyst. When you change, life changes. When you show up different, reality bends to match you. It is a mirror. It is a reflection of you. So this is why when we understand this, it's so important to get clear, not just on what you're thinking, but something bigger than you, right? Is there a problem you've got to solve, right? Is there something that the world needs from you, a gift that you have, a story that you've lived through, something you can share? It's your light. It's why we're here. So staying in communication with God is so incredibly important. And so I really want to encourage you guys to do this daily, right? There are so many times when I get scared, when I have my own doubts, right? When I get sad, right? We're all human. The question is how long and how do you get out of them, right? You got to have a faith emergency plan. You've got to get into communication with the Creator, right? And know that you're just not seeing it yet, but don't lose faith, right? We're not choosing delusion. We're choosing faith, and we're sticking to it, and we're staying in communication. We're not getting derailed from this plan. This is our plan. This is our purpose. It is to develop ourselves and to give that to the world. That is why we're here. So those are the 8 steps that I really want you guys to think about going into this new year, right? Ask yourself, do the worksheet, go through these questions, take time to really build this version of you, build this new identity of you, and really, really, really give that to the world. And so I understand that as this is happening, I want to give you some more tools and some more strategies for this, because like I said, there is a space between identities, right? There is going to be a time where you're going to feel confused, where you're going to feel like, I'm not a girl, not yet a woman. And I'm sorry for the men watching this, but that is just the best song that came to me in real time when I'm thinking of this, right? It's kind of like that teenager phase, right? You're just like, right? What do they call it? Like, it's awkward, it's confusing, it's the unknown. Same for us. We have these 2 different identities, but I really want you to still understand that that's normal and that you're going to pick this. And so here's some things I want to go over with you. Most people think that growth is linear, right? This is what we've been taught. It's literally what we see in the workplace. Like, here's your entry level job, and then here's how you grow. And after a year, you get a promotion. And after 3 years, you can get another title change, and then you'll get a raise, and then you'll get this. And it's very linear. But we're not here to grow linear, right? We're here for quantum jumping. We're here for identity shifts. We're here for massive change. I'm trying to get my life and all the things I want to experience and the good parts of them as quick as possible, right? People know that you can make massive amounts of money. Do you want to become a millionaire when you're 60, or do you want to become a millionaire when you're 25? The choice is actually yours, right? And so much of it has to do with understanding the rules of the game of life and how to play it, right? And it has so much to do with your identity and who you are and the work that you're doing on yourself. And this is why it's so important. So There will be this moment though where the old identity doesn't want to work. Like it's like, okay, fine. Like you're breaking up with it. It's like the ex. Like we're not doing this anymore. But the new identity doesn't feel natural yet. And so you've really got to make sure that, again, this is where you understand that this is not a problem. This is the initiation. You are being initiated into this new part, right? I was in a sorority. We literally had an initiation. If you look at Freemasons, there's initiation. If you look at Joe Dispenza's teaching, it's called like the sickness is the initiation. It's your ability to rise in consciousness and overcome what looks like a problem, but it is literally just something to show you how powerful you are. So when you are in between these identities, you've got to understand I am locked into this one. This is the initiation. I'm doubling down on my faith. I'm taking that action more consistently. I'm being super, super, super clear on who I am and how I'm getting there, right? We don't always know the how. We probably when God's at play, we don't know how, right? We know how in the sense of I'm showing up for myself. I'm doing these things and I'm taking action. So I want you to have a reflection prompt. And here's the question. Where am I waiting for clarity to give me permission to move? Right? Because when you're in between these identities, you're like, well, I just need a clear sign. You decide. You've got to decide that you're doing this. You are your permission slip. And literally, if you got to write it down and this is my permission slip and you hang it up and you know what? I give myself permission. I decide I'm going this way. I'll give you an example of this. You know, when I was really, really sick, no doctor gave me a permission slip that I was going to be okay. No doctor gave me a diagnosis that I was going to be okay. Nobody. Eastern, Western, all the medicines. No, I had to be the one that decided. I had to give myself permission that I was no longer going to live that life and I was going to live this life and I was going to heal. And that's what I did. I was in between identities. I wasn't the sick girl anymore. I'm not going to live that life, but I didn't have a job yet. I didn't know what I was going to do, right? But I was holding the faith and holding the vision, right? I was pretending. I was imagining what it would be like. I literally went out and got an outfit for my new job. This is taking action in that direction. This is what you've got to do. So that's the prompt. Where am I waiting for clarity to give me permission to move? Get clear and then decide I'm not doing this. And 2, what if clarity is the result of obedience, not the prerequisite? So really, clarity comes because we did the thing and now we're clear that was right. This is the way. And a lot of times we're looking for a prerequisite. So really, really understand this. I just want you to understand being stuck in between identities is good. You're in the right place. So just keep glowing, just keep glowing and growing and going truly and deciding that this is who you're going to be. You're choosing it. So I want to go to another part of this because this is a question that I feel like I get a lot, and it's why God doesn't give you the entire plan right away, right? Like, you know, why can't God just be like, this is what you're going to do and it's going to be easy and like, here's the plan, right? Why is it that like I have to have faith and I just have to blindly trust and I just have to believe? Okay, have you ever had a friend be like, or a family member be like, all right, here's the plan. You're like, I don't care. Like, just you pick. And then they pick and they're like, this is the plan. And we're going to do this and we're going to fly in here. We're going to eat this and we're going to do this. And then all of a sudden you want to start to control it. You're like, well, what if actually we like go earlier and then we do this and we do this and we do this? Why? Our nature is to want to have control. Why? If we feel like we're in control, then nothing can go wrong. We're safe. We're literally wired for survival. Survival, your brain is like, I got to keep you safe. And that means I got to be in control. And that means it's got to be familiar. I'll give you a very different but example of this. A lot of times when people lose somebody, and I can speak from my experience of going through this, you want to try to control everything. You want to save everything. You want to just, or you go through trauma. You want to now control everything in your life because you want to feel like amidst this trauma and this chaos that you still have control over something. When in reality, none of us actually have control over anything. We have control over, how we can think and how we can act, but we don't even know, like nothing is for sure, nothing is promised. So I want you to understand that if God showed you the full picture, you would try to control it in some way. You would also try to delay it until you felt ready. How many times do you feel like you're being called to do something, but you don't feel ready, so you delay it? Guilty. I've been so guilty of this. So if God showed you the whole plan and it was like, yeah, you're going to do this, you're going to quit your job, and then you're going to go here and it's all going to work, blah, blah, blah. You'd be like, well, I'm not ready for this. No, 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 no. That's why people stay stuck, because they're not ready for that big change. But change is good. We're going into the unknown, and this is a positive thing. So you try to control it, you try to delay it because you don't feel ready, or you'd bypass. This is really important to understand. In that, you would bypass the identity shift required to hold it. It is who we become on the journey, right? It is how we change our thinking. Like if you ask me, am I the same person as I was 5 years ago? Absolutely not. The work I have done on myself, right? The freaking 13 Joe Dispenza week-longs I've gone to, 10-day event I just went to, the amount of meditating, the amount of books I've read, the amount of work that I have done to change my identity, to be the version of me that is here right now saying, I just want to teach you what I know. I just want to give you this. I promise this has changed my life. And if you believe me, it can change yours. If you ask for help, ask and you shall receive. If you communicate with God, if you do these things, I promise you life can get so good. I know this because I've lived it, but I've lived it because I've gone through hard times and I've had to overcome. And it's in the overcoming process that we become. And so God doesn't show us the whole plan. We don't get from point A to point B all the time right away, because we have to change. Just like Albert Einstein said, we have to match the frequency of the reality. Just like Jamie Kern Lima said, you got to match that vibration. She had to match the woman that was that at that level, which if you don't know her story, she did. She got the yeses and sold the company for $1.2 billion cash. Woo! That's what it's like to communicate with God and trust the plan and keep having faith and keep believing and feeling worthy and matching and shifting and becoming. So this is so important. So instead, know that you're not always going to know the whole plan, but you're going to have the next step. You're going to have the next invitation, right? Here's the next invitation. You can take this or not. That's free will, right? You can have the next act of trust. And that is what we get. We don't always get the whole plan, but look, faith is it's not knowing all the time, right? It's not knowing. It's not seeing to believe. It is believing it so that we can see it. It's taking the next step, right? You've probably heard this, is taking the next step, but not even seeing the whole staircase. It's just like, I know. How do I know? I know that I'm loved. I know that I'm supported. I know that there is a God that has got my back, and it's going to help me. It always does. Always. But it takes us having an unwavering amount of faith. Unwavering. So know that. And then I really want to go back over this identity, right? I was talking about the identity. I really want to make sure that you are locking this in, right? I think so many times we wait to feel confident to move. And I want you to know that you cannot wait to feel confident to move. You got to just start going, right? It's you that is the catalyst. And I want you to know that feeling the way that we feel a lot of time, that gives us feedback, but we can alter our feelings, because a lot of times it's like, well, I'll just feel ready when I feel ready. No, when you do something, when you think differently, you activate new feelings in your body. Like you do that. When you change the story, this is a big one. You change the feelings in your body because you change the story. I'll give you an example. Excitement and feeling anxious are the same exact chemical. We know this. Science tells us this. What's the difference? It's the story. Somebody can say, I remember telling my brother's girlfriend, like she was so nervous about flying. She was super anxious. And I'm like, oh, you're excited. She's like, no, I'm anxious. I have anxiety. And I'm like, it's the same chemical. Look it up. She does. Okay, so what do? Tell yourself you're excited. She's like, I'm excited. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. At some point, she started to get excited. She's like, oh my God, this is crazy. I'm like, actually excited. We changed the story, right? That changes it for us. So I want you to think about this too. What are the stories that you're telling yourself that are keeping you stuck? Keeping you stuck in this old reality, keeping you stuck in this old emotional addiction, right? You start thinking fear, your body's going to start releasing cortisol, the stress hormone. You're stressing yourself out. Do you know how many times we stress ourselves out and something isn't even happening? You can literally think about a situation that happened last week at work, or 1 month ago, or 5 years ago from an ex-boyfriend, or 10 years ago, and you can literally relive that experience in your mind right now. And you will start to get the chemical reaction. You will feel your palms sweating, your heart racing, you're getting all heated up, and it's not even happening. You're creating it by thought alone. You're allowing a memory to trigger you and to hijack your pharmacy. So what if you did that for the good? What if you remembered a dream that you had? Asking yourself every day, is there a dream that I can remember? My friend told me this, and I love this. Is there a dream that I can remember? And ask yourself that. Maybe when you were a little kid, you had a dream. Maybe last week you had a dream. Maybe you had a literal dream come to you and you're like, wow, I should be doing this. Is there a dream that you remember that you can go after, that you can start to believe in again? This is so important, right? And how would that feel? And how can you imagine that? Imagine when you break it down, I'm a genie. You're the genie. You're the one that's bringing your dreams to life. So when you take time to imagine that and to fall in love with that and that identity and this new me, what is it like? Oh, let me feel that now. Why do we want to feel it now? We want to train our body what it's going to feel like. We want our nervous system to know what it feels like. We want to know the chemical cocktail that it is. That we start to get so familiar that it just starts to feel like this. People will be like, Caitlin, you're so happy all the time. Were you always like this? I was like this. When I was a little girl, this was always me. And then I went through massive amounts of trauma and it was not me, right? I was not okay. I was trying to figure out how to not kill myself, how to not have debilitating anxiety and depression, how to get out of bed, how to not wear a hat, how to talk to people, how to come back to social media, how to get in front of a camera, right? That was not me. But I had to remember there is a part of you that is looking to be expressed. There is a part of you that wants to come back out, and it is more you than anything else. The world has put programs on you, and you think that's who you are. You think you're just the person that's always stressed out. Well, if you knew my life, great. I've gone through the stress too, but it doesn't mean you can't change. You can start thinking different. You can start telling a new story. You can start building a new identity. You can start falling in love with that version of you now. You can use your imagination to flood your body with the chemicals of it and to really bring it to life. And this is so important. This part of the identity process is so big. And I want you to really understand that feelings are huge, right? Dr. Joe Dispenza says the end product of an experience is an emotion. Right? We just remember that emotion from that. We don't always remember things, but we know how it made us feel. And so many feelings are keeping us stuck in an old reality. They're keeping us stuck in an old life. And we keep telling those stories about things we don't even want to feel. And every time we tell the story, we feel it again. And it is keeping us stuck in a life. If you want to change your life, you got to feel differently. How? By telling a new story, by being a new person, by taking action, by having more fun in your life, by falling in love with your life. When was the last time you colored? When was the last time you painted? When was the last time you jumped on a little trampoline or went for a walk outside or danced or sang or used these things to express yourself and you didn't care if anyone was watching? Right? You've got to go back to these things that make you feel alive. You've got to start feeling new feelings so that you can shift yourself out of this identity to this identity, from this reality to this reality. And emotions are a huge, 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 huge part of it. Right? And there's so many ways I can explain this to you, but I want you to reflect yourself and ask yourself these questions. What emotion am I waiting on before I allow myself to act? Are you waiting to feel courageous? Are you waiting to feel safe? Are you waiting to feel excited? But I'm telling you, when you just do it, When you create, why do athletes use mental rehearsal? They want to see themselves. They want to fire and wire the neurons in their brain. They want to see themselves winning. They want to know what it feels like. So when they go do it, they're not scared, right? Basketball players, Michael Jordan would free throw after free throw after free throw. Why? Because when it came to a game and there's a second left in the game and they're down by 2 and he's got to make the free throw for them to tie or to win it, depending on the score, he's got to be so calm and present. And we are waiting for emotions to get us to feel okay to take the step in our life. But instead, if you would just start practicing what it would feel like, if you would mental rehearsal, if you would visualize it, if you would imagine it, if you would think the thoughts and see yourself in it and give yourself that chemical, you would take action because you would be like, this is me. I'm already good. I'm good. I'm not scared. I'm not whatever that emotion is. So I want you to get clear on what those emotions are that you're waiting for and then start practicing them now, right? Because this is the second reflection. Who would I be if feelings were allowed but not obeyed? What does that mean, right? So, okay, I'm going to have this feeling, but I'm not going to obey it. I feel that way now, but I can change it. I have dominion. I am a powerful creator. I have control over my thinking and my feeling and my body. I'm in control, right? Consciousness is in control. I'm not a slave to the way I think and feel. I can change them. You can change them. That's what you have to understand. You can change your thinking. Who you are is not concrete. You are not stuck. So many times we're like, oh, this is just who they are. That's just who they are. You know that. Everyone knows that. They're the grumpy guy. They're the silly girl. They're the whatever. No, that's just who they're being now. And maybe they've been being that for a long period of time in their life, but it doesn't mean that that's who they are. So whoever you are right now, if you love it, amazing. You can still improve in ways. We can always expand ourselves and learn more about ourselves or have more fun, have more joy, have more love. There's always room for more. And also take an honest look at who am I being right now and have I been being this person for a long time and does it serve me? And if you're not living your dream life, the answer is no. There is something that must change in you for your life to change. You have to understand this. It's not your ex. It's not your current boyfriend or husband. It's not your illness. You can't tell me that. I've lived it. I know that it can be hard. I know that it can be horrible and you can be in pain and it could be physical pain or mental pain or emotional pain. I've had them all, right? But you can overcome that. And that is what I need you to understand. No matter what you are facing right now, no matter what you are up against in your life, no matter how bad it looks, in a moment, your life can change for the better. But it is going to take you believing that, you shifting something inside of you, calling out to the Creator and asking for help. But it's going to take your move. It is your move next. You've got to know that. So please, 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 this is so important too. And I'm going to just go back to it because it always ends with the embodiment of faith, right? What does that look like, right? How would someone who trusts God carry themselves today? How is somebody who trusts God going to carry themselves today? They're going to get out of bed, right? They're going to believe that their healing could happen today. Right? I was at a Joe Dispenza event and I met a friend who is he's a new friend and I met him there. I didn't know him, but now he's my friend and he's great. And his mission is to walk again. And I know there is a version of him that is walking and that's what I see. But I asked him to he told me he was working on a book and I'm like, what does the book cover look like? Like, go online, show me I want to see in your subconscious mind the image because the subconscious mind works in images. How do you see it happening? And he shows me the book cover and it's like, the vision in the wheelchair and then the walker and then walking. And I'm like, oh, so his mind sees that it's going to happen in this way, right? It's very important to understand that your mind sees a path forward. And I'm like, well, where's your walker? And he's like, well, I don't have one. I'm like, well, then you don't actually believe you came here to walk or you would have a walker. That's the next step. So anyways, it took less than a day. We manifested one and he got up in it and it was freaking amazing and a miracle. But my point is, how would you get up today? You got to believe that your miracle is happening. You got to expect that it is happening today, right here, right now. This is your life and you are a creator and it's happening. And the embodiment of faith is walking as it. It is believing it by your actions, by how you show up, right? It's giving. Even when you don't have, because you believe that it will come back to you. And then you will be blessed because it is your faith, right? What did Jesus say? It is your faith that healed you. He didn't say it was me, I'm glorious, I'm the best. No, he said it was your faith that healed you. We have to remember what the scripture actually says. Your faith healed you. You've got to be the embodiment of your faith. You have got to have unwavering faith. There is nothing, no thought that slips by you. Nothing that any person can say, any doctor can say, any situation that presents itself that can get in between you and your unwavering faith. It is one. We are one. Jesus said, me and my Father are one. You are one with it, right? And it is that faith that will create miracles in your life, right? So I want you to think, what does that faith look like? Right? Maybe faith is a posture. Faith is a practice. Faith is a knowingness. Faith is a way of walking. Faith is an expectation. What is that to you? Right? If I really trust, if I really had faith, how would I be acting? What would I be working on? What would I be doing? Answer those questions. Get clear. Get so clear on it. And I want you to really have a practice, right? I want you to understand that when you take time to fill these questions out, you're going to start to see, a way of living, right? And I'm not trying to make this religious. I just know the Bible because I think it's really amazing and has incredible messages for us. It's a great book of a way of living, but God gave Moses commandments to live by. So what are the commandments in your life, right? When you answer these questions and you put these parts together, what are the commandments that you are going to be living by? And why is it important for you to know that? Because you can then look back and say, okay, well, was I in alignment with who I said I am becoming or who I am today? Did I do this? Did I act this way? Did I show up? What was it like? And it is only when we reflect that we can see I was in alignment or I wasn't. And if you weren't, that's okay. Get back into alignment. Get back on the saddle. Let's keep going. We're going this way. But I'm telling you, the more you stay in this alignment, what happens? You're changing. Your energy is changing. What you believe is changing. The information in the field is changing. And all of this is going to create a new life for you. So get ready. And this is a big thing I just want to note. A lot of times when this happens, it looks a little chaotic because here's the big thing you have to understand. You cannot take your old life with you. Right? I couldn't take the old version of me into the new reality. It just doesn't work. I couldn't be the sick girl that was working, right? I couldn't be the girl that they said was going to die in this reality right now. I wouldn't be here today. So I had to let go. And you might see this in your life. You might be working on all these things in your life. And then you're like, oh my God, Caitlin, you don't understand. Like I lost my job or I had this relationship or money's going this or that. Things are falling apart. Yes, things fall apart so they can be put back together new. If you've ever gone through a demo in a house, what do? They got to freaking hit walls down and tear things out. And it looks chaotic. And in those moments, you're like, why did I even do this? The house was okay. No, you wanted it to be better. You saw a vision. You see a vision in your life and you got to hold true to the vision. And when it gets messy and you see the debris and it's chaotic, you can't forget what is happening. This is part of the plan and it is perfect. And that is when you got to lock in on your vision even more and know and trust that this is the way. I'm not wavering. I have faith. It's going to clear up at any moment. And if and when you start to waver, you pray. You remember, you get back into communion, you trust, Like, write down your vision. If you want a vision board, if you want affirmations, if you want to choose your thoughts, write your commandments out and say, this is the reality that I am creating. And I don't care if my husband doesn't see it. And I don't care if my kids think mommy's crazy. And I don't care if my friends, whatever. This is the reality that I am choosing to live, and I will not waver. And if I start, I will get into prayer and I will ask for help. Ask and you shall receive, and it will be given unto you if you believe. It is your faith. So please know this, that you are here on purpose for a purpose, that the Creator has put gifts inside of your heart. And if you can't feel them right now, you're feeling stuck, then take time to be still. Take time to get to know yourself. Meditation means to become familiar with, to know thyself. Right? We know what's happening from our friends in high school because we saw on Instagram or Facebook, but we don't even know what our own thoughts are, our own feelings, our own dreams and our desires. Make time for yourself. You are worthy of it. You are important, and the world needs you. The world needs you. This is so crucial. So make time, get clear, go through the worksheet. Please follow along. Share this with anybody you think could benefit. If there's somebody that you want to do this with, amazing. Amazing. This is my gift to you, to them. It's so great to have a belief buddy. But here's the thing. Just like you don't tell people that you're pregnant until like it's really solidified, if you are working on a new identity and you're like, my friends will never get this, my boyfriend, my girlfriend, they're never going to get, don't tell them, right? The best way to show somebody in your life that you've changed is not by telling them, it's by changing. It's by changing. And you have that power. You have the power to change anything in your life. Anything in your life. Because the power is and always has been you. So know that. I hope that this is the most amazing year yet. I hope that you take time to get clear, to see what it is you're being called to create, what it is you're wishing to express and experience. And I hope you also take time to acknowledge just the fact that you're here, that you're watching this, that you're committed, that you love yourself, that you're choosing to create a better life. That is huge too. You are incredible. I love you with all of me. And I truly, truly, truly believe in you. And know this, that everything is possible when you believe in possibilities. So I love you all so much. And if you're watching this and you're not part of my coaching, please, 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 if you would love calls like this weekly with teachings and with experiences, then please, please join me. It is an incredible community and I would love to have you a part of it. But I love you guys so much. Until next time, I'll see you. Know that you can do it and I believe in you. Love you, love you, love you. And now I just got to figure out how to end this. Goodbye.